Peace and love, family. It's your brother Isaiah tapping in with another one for the conscious brothers and sisters in the conscious community, keeping the struggle because we know it's through the struggle that we grow. Also, I like to say that it is, in fact, a slow process for progress. And that the race is not to the swift, it's to those that endure the longest. Make sure y'all stay in it for the long haul. You already know these videos never constitute legal advice, not a legal counsel, not an attorney. Just your brother sharing with you education and information about my walks, travels, throughout my journey called life. And I like to extend these honors to you because when you're honoring man and woman, you most definitely are honoring yourself. Let's give adoration to the Most High, who is the hidden temple of my life, and extend that same love, courtesy, and acknowledgement to all of his messengers and prophets. Peace to all of you, beloved brothers and sisters, and grand rising to the people of God. How y'all doing? I'm great. I'm taking everything in step stages and degrees, constantly unfolding in the womb of these two different worlds. Before I get into what I want to talk about, I just wanted to make a statement, right? uh, Somebody was talking to my daughter and they was talking about life and death, and she was saying that she was going to bless them with life in abundance. Now this is my daughter, she's 5 years old, right? She said, I'm going to bless you with abundance in life. She say, I'm going to give you life in a way that you will not be immortal. So then when she said that to the other person said to her, oh, such and such. She's talking about some, you have to accept it because life and death are just, it's a part of life. You know, you gotta die, you're gonna die. So I had to interrupt that. I had to tell her, no, 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 no. First of all, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to know true self. If you understand who spirit. You're not talking to the flesh. The flesh is just the conduit. So if I believe you, the spirit inside, that I die, guess what happened to me? Because I'm not the flesh. The flesh is not really who I am. So you got to know self because a lot of y'all telling y'all children that they're going to die. And you're not understanding that what you're talking to is a vessel. The child is inside the vessel. So when you make that child inside that vessel believe that it died and it's a spirit, you wrong, man. You dead wrong. You dead wrong. You need to change that because we've been deceived. We've been tricked. Your body is a self-healing organism. It only dies because we kill it, because we the ones in control of it. So we've been taught wrong. We've been deceived. So I had to correct that because, my whole life I was always taught that we live and we die, but I never really understood the fact that the first self is spirit, that man is spirit. And it even tell you in the scriptures that you not flesh. So even though you appear as flesh, you got to know that that's not your true identity. So understanding when you teaching your child and you telling them that they got to die, you got to understand that you talking to the flesh, but I mean, you speaking to a fleshly body, but what you're actually communicating with is a spirit, and you making that spirit inside that body believe that it dies. You shouldn't do that. We gotta wake up, man. They tricking us. I just gotta say that, man, because it really touched my heart because I understand how we being deceived because we don't really understand our true identity. We look at the flesh as who we really are, but man, it's not flesh. You're not flesh. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. We gotta wake up. We gotta come up out the slumber, man. We under a spell, an illusion. For real, for real. But let me talk to, I happen to be looking at um the comments and stuff like that. And I was reading when somebody was saying something about an estate, how do you claim your people's estates when they pass on. I actually want to do a webinar on it because it's easier for me to actually show you things and break it down to you, like just actually just telling you over a live is not adequate, nor is it proper in order to, provide you with adequate information. I could tell you where to go and look and things like that. But I will tell you this is that you have to go through the courts in order to obtain that estate through the courts. All right. They had an act. It's an act in every state that pertains to that. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. I can't think of it right off, but they do have an act. But anybody can claim in the state of any loved one. You want to look up if you live in a particular state, and y'all make sure y'all get the likes up, man, and share the live out. Cause like I said, I provide you with information, man, that's critical. Like how many of us got loved ones that then passed on, and they got estates and stuff just sitting with the state just collecting interest on that estate that should be benefiting you and your family from your ancestors, or from those that you are the descendant of those individuals, and you should be receiving their interest. You see what I'm saying? Um, the name of the I think the name of the form is I think it's called Letters of Administration. So if you wanna know how to claim your loved one's estate, you wanna look up letters of administration for your state. So if you live in Texas, you look up letters of administration for the state of Texas. And when you say that to Google it, it's gonna pop up, because a letter of administration is a request to take over an estate of a deceased person. So when you request for that in Google, it's going to take you straight to your state code specifically that deals with that particular topic. And when you start reading and researching, you'll find all the evidence and information that you need in order for you to make such a claim based off what that state requires in order for you to claim in the state of a loved one. Or, matter of fact, make somebody else an executor over your estate now while you alive. You can actually do that. You can actually create a will and assign yourself an executor right now while you are alive. Like, it's just a lot of things that we really don't know and that we really are unaware of, that we have not been taught. You know what I'm saying? And uh, it's called a living will. Okay. Woo, boy, I tell you, we'll hear it and we don't even understand what it means. A living trust, right? Okay, what goes with a living trust? A living will. Man, I'm giving you something powerful. What goes with a living trust? A living will. If you've never heard of a living will, I suggest you look it up. I suggest you figure out what it is and what it's for. And then when you kind of figure out what a living will is, maybe you need to issue one to the probate. You know what I mean? Maybe you should issue a living will to the probate. Are you trying to not have to go through probate? Do you have a trust? Is it on file with the probate division or the clerk of the probate division? Is it? It's not? Well, how do they know what not to probate? Man, it's rules to this thing, man. You they got things set in a particular way in order for things to be done a certain way properly. It's a proper way to do each and everything that you're trying to do. It's a proper application for all things. Even if you do something and it's not quite right, it doesn't prevent you from acquiring what you're trying to acquire. It's the intent of the person. What was your actual intent? And you're basically, everything is determined by the intent of the person. So remember that. Always remember. That's why I say knowing, having knowledge And knowing what you're doing is critical because that creates the intent of the person. If you really don't know what you're doing and you really don't understand what's actually happening, you following a curriculum or you going off a template, you really don't have nothing to really stand on. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't really represent the information, meaning you got something that's specifying some stuff, but when it comes time to present that as the man who endorsed it or delivered it, you can't even represent it. You up in I'm the representative. You see, you can't do that. You can't. You gotta actually internalize the information. You gotta become that which you speak. You can't live two lifestyles. You can't say you're a natural living being and then operate as a fictitious person. All right. If you are living, you must act as the living in all acts and deeds that you do as a living man, as a living woman. This is the way that it goes, right? In all acts and deeds that we do, where we understand that we have to use a legal person. Why? Because legally, a legal system can only deal with legal entities or legal persons, corporations, partnerships. You get it? So forth and so on. So that's why each and every man uses a legal name or a legal person or what we would call a government because it's actually some type of state of your own. You know how you say, man, I got my own state of being. You ever heard somebody speak like that before? I got my own state of being. I'm in my own state of being. So it's your own state. We all have our own state. Man, every man is bound by his own authority. You're not bound to no other man's authority or no other man's rules or regulations. You are your own state. You have the right to create. That's why we can all create our own government. That's why you can become independent. All you got to do is have knowledge. With the knowledge, you can become an independent government because you are already that. You are an independent agency. Whether you know it or not, you got to grow into a knowledge of independency. Wealth is by this. Wealth is not by you going to work for paper. Wealth is you understanding that paper is what's considered as money, and then you learn how to use paper as money for your benefit. See, but going to work for something that you can go in the store and pay $2 for and get 3,000 pieces of is ludicrous. It really is. And people see it's far fetched, but it's far fetched for you to allow them to use paper as value, but you can't use it as value. Or you subject to only believe that the only paper that can be used by you is paper given to you by them. When even though the paper given to you by them has to be signed and approved by you because you are the authority. Nothing moves until you approve it. You know what I'm saying? Anything they issue, they got to get your consent. They can't issue a mortgage without your consent. They can't issue a lease without your consent. Anytime they want to issue or use a document, they got to ask you for permission. They got to always get your consent. Now, when they get your consent, you might not understand. You might think you the servant, you the tail, but really you the head. God said he wasn't making us no tail. He said he was making us the head. So the seat of government stands with the people. Why the hell you think you at the back? Huh? You ain't at the back, you in the front. You the grantor and you the settler. He's the trustee. He's the one bound. Anytime you go to him, he's bound under what he's providing to you. It's his lease. He's bound to rents. Why? Because the rents are stated in his lease, meaning that if you do the right thing, he got to give you rents. But if you default, you pay rents because you take his place. Y'all switch, switching places like Eddie Murphy did in the movie. You know how you switch places? you you may have been rich when you came forward. So you trade places and somebody else took your place. You know what I mean? Somebody else. How could somebody tell you to pay them something on the paper and it got your name and it says it's due to you? It got your name, it says amount due, and it says a date, and it's your name on it. But the person delivering it to you is saying you're supposed to pay him. Or is it a misinterpretation of what the agreement is actually saying? Maybe it's not really saying what you may think it's saying. It may be saying something totally different, but the way you was raised and taught how to interpret legal information makes you incur a liability by interpreting it the wrong way, which would have caused you to act in the wrong way, and then everything would be upside down. Now you went from here to here, all in a simple concept of you lacking understanding of something that you should have knew more about before you got into it. So uh I just want to say this before I get ready to get up out of here, right? That whether something is possible, it depends on your ability to conceive of it. If you can conceive it in your mind, you can make it a reality. What am I saying? I'm saying what is your name? Isaiah. Isaiah. I'm John. John. Okay. All right. If you can see it in your mind, you can make it a reality, right? Now, everything that you see started from a thought, including these glasses. Meaning it had to first be a thought in a person's head, and then that person went into the atmosphere and gathered resources in order to bring into fruition the idea he had in his mind. Same thing with this. Okay, same thing with this, or any other fabric or any other personal item that you acquire or purchase through any type of vendor store. It started as an idea first, and then it became something physical. It says first is in the beginning was the word, and the word was God, and the word traveled amongst men, and the word becomes flesh. So man's idea, which is like God essence, because the man can't be seen. When you think about man, if you think on a fleshly level or mundane level, then you only see the flesh. You only see what's on the screen. You don't really understand who you're really talking to. But if you spiritually inclined, you understand that what's on the screen is not the true person. It's a representation of what's inside that body, right? So you can interact with me on a higher frequency because you're able to connect with the source that's actually transmuting through this body. All right. Understanding these things is critical, man. It really is critical that you understand who you are, because security interests, right? You are the interest of your body. You are the one that holds the direct interest, because the body is being controlled by another force. It's something. This body is not acting by itself. It's not doing this. It's not doing it. I'm doing this. It's me. I'm the one inside making it do that. It's not doing it by itself, yo. It's not. It's me. I'm making it do this. It can't do it by itself. If I don't do nothing, if I don't command it, it'll do this. I said, say something. I said, move around. I said, move, make your hands move. See, I'm the intellect. I'm the power controlling it. It appears to be me. But if you don't understand who you are, you're gonna always misrepresent your true identity. And not understanding who you are the secured party. The reason why you are secured, because in your person you are secured, meaning that if you did this, nobody would never know what the hell is on your mind. Nobody would know what you was thinking. They could never figure out nothing because you're not saying anything. You're protected in your principle, your person. This is your protection. All right, which grants you a secure interest in anything it touches or anything that's tied to it. So if this body name is on any paper, that means that the spirit controlling this body has a direct interest in that paper or anything it's pertaining to, because the spirit holds the interest in everything of the flesh, because the spirit or the flesh is bound by the spirit and not the other way around. The spirit is not bound by the flesh. The flesh is bound by the spirit, meaning the flesh needs the spirit to coexist. The spirit don't need flesh in order to exist. It can exist without a fleshly body. So it's not bound to the flesh. The flesh is bound to the spirit. So the spirit is the principle. The spirit man, he's the principle, he's the thought, the intellect, the intelligence, the force, the power. Understand that. Understand who you are and understand your property, what you control, what's bound by you. Understand that the flesh on paper is a legal person. The reason why it's a legal person because God authorized it. Whoever he is, the creator, the intelligence, the all in all, whoever is directing us to come in these bodies like this, he legally said you had the rights to take this body. So it's a legal act and it's been approved and it's ordained, not by man. Don't get it twisted. Understand what's going on, man. Understand why you got the rights to act. And man don't give you that right. You get that right from God. You wouldn't be in the body if you didn't have the right to control it. But man gonna make you believe that he giving you some kind of right by putting it on paper, acting like he the steward of it. He's not the steward. Everything starts in flesh before it go to paper. You were born alive before they rested you. So that means what? Before they rested you, before you became a legal person at sea, you were first born what? As a child on the what? The land. You were born on the land as a child in a hospital, and then there was a registration from the hospital to you becoming at sea, meaning you became official. You got an official capacity at birth, and you legally became naturalized as a legal person, which now allows you to do contracts, agreements, mortgages, leases under that legal name. But most of us ain't been taught right, man. We ain't being taught right, and a lot of people can't even explain to us what's actually happening. What's actually they said, oh, they tell when you born they doing this. No, when you born you gain legal capacity. Everything man does is legal. So whenever a child is born, every child has a right to have legal capacity because man is equal. So if man agree to create a legal society, anybody born in that society will acquire a legal right and have a title to their rights. So your birth certificate is not just a document of identity, it's also certification of your legal right over the legal person and your claim to any interest against that name because you hold the highest title to the name. See what I'm saying? But if you never grow into an understanding of all these different things, you'll never understand. Like you claiming an interest on a mortgage, do you got a document of title that can show the legal identity between the two persons that give you a right to make a claim? You see what I'm saying? Because everybody don't understand you're a natural person, but your legal identity is an official capacity. So whenever you become liable under that name, you got a certificate that can show the transition from you becoming from a natural man being arrested as a legal person. Your birth certificate is a naturalization certificate, which shows that you are actually really a natural person, naturalized as a legal person. So when you come forward with a claim, you see what I'm saying? As a natural person, you got a certificate of naturalization showing your authority to receive any benefit from a registered act done on your behalf. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people can't teach it like that because they don't understand it in that way. You know what I'm saying? You have to grow to a level of understanding to have this type of information that I'm providing to you and the type of understanding that I'm giving to you, right? It's a lot of stuff I could give you, but time don't permit it. I got a lot of things I got to get done right now. I just wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts with y'all, man, and let y'all know. Like I said, next Saturday I got a webinar coming up pertaining to how to perfect, claim, and enforce your security interests. If you are in any kind of agreement right now, I don't care if it's a mortgage, it's a lease, it's a license, and you any agreement, you being charged, you want to learn how to deal with that, you want to learn how to settle that obligation, make sure you sign up. Make sure you come out because I'm going to be showing you something about what security interest is and how it actually works in your favor. It having a security interest works in your favor. The only way it don't work in your favor is you listening to people that make you believe that your security interest is making you a debtor. It ain't making you a debtor. You making yourself a debtor for lack of understanding. But a security interest perfects your rights. It grants you a right of deferment, not the other way around. It's a misinterpretation of what it is that causes you to become liable. So if you want to learn more about it, you want to learn how to take charge, you want to learn the proper procedures, you want to learn what needs to be done, not just by talk, but by actual application and actual Documentation showing you where the information that supports. If I give you a process and I say, this is how you do this, and this is what you do, okay? And I show you documents what I've done. I'm not gonna just do that. I'm gonna take you to the laws too that support it. I'm gonna show you where it came from. I'm gonna take you to the codes. I'm gonna say this is where this come from. You see what this says? Right here it says anytime, and it's gonna be specifically to what I'm doing. It ain't gonna be something else, and I'm just trying to make it fit for what I'm doing. No, it's gonna specifically say exactly what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna provide you with all that information so that when you doing what you're doing, you can cross-reference it to anything that your state requires. Any rule, and that's the benefit of having a brother like me. It's good to know the Constitution, but a lot of brothers don't know codes, statutes, and acts. Not like me. They ain't cold. They don't know how to go in there and search information like me. I got information out of this world. You hear me? And being able to have the right kind of information and being able to use that information at the right time is critical, man. It's critical. All right. And with that said, man, I'm gonna bring this to a closure. You know what I'm saying? Y'all look forward because I got a lot of stuff coming on. I'm actually gonna do a webinar on a statutory trust. What a statutory trust is. I've never heard anybody teach how to create a statutory trust. They tell you that when you go to court, they say, what's the jurisdiction? They say statutory jurisdiction. And people are like, oh, statutory, that's dealing with statutes and codes. Of course, that's statutory jurisdiction. Okay, then if they charge in your person, then he must be a statutory person. I'm gonna show you how you deal with that. How you man, listen, it's a beautiful thing. You're living in a time right now that is so beautiful. You just gotta wake up and realize just like how beautiful it is and take advantage of the opportunities that's before you. You can't be in two worlds because if you entertained by the other world, you ain't gonna be able to entertain yourself with this world. This world, you're not entertained by things. You're entertained by knowledge, wisdom, and information. That's a whole different world. The world that I live in is a world full of information. You know how Neo was in there and he started learning about the Matrix and he started seeing how easy it was and he was beating the agents with one hand and stuff and he was able to jump inside of them and take control. You know, it's all about control, right? So he was able to what? Control the agent. He was able to jump inside the agents, take over, and make everything work to his benefit, right? In which the agent became a dissolved character, right? Remember when Neo was in there, and he was seeing all them numbers and them lines. What that is when you see all them numbers and them lines, that's conducive to contracts and agreements. Once Neo became cognizant of his role as the grantor and the issuer in the matrix, he was able to redefine his position. And when he redefined his position, it gave him a position of power. Instead of him running and not accepting the agent's offer, when he wasn't accepting, then the agents held an interest over him. They was able to do whatever they wanted to do to him because he was not accepting his liability. When he began to accept, remember when he started realizing, he started looking at his hands and he started accepting. That's when he started realizing, like, man, this ain't real. He started realizing what it was. He started seeing what it was, and then when he realized that it was all fictitious, he took control. He was able to do anything he wanted to do because at that time he had the power. See, The Matrix in itself was a movie about mind control. See, Zion represents you in your natural state. The Matrix represents you registered as a legal person operating in a legal concept as a legal person, not recognizing your true identity. All right. The machines in the Matrix was the governments. What was they warned? They was trying to get the minds of the people. Why in Zion was the people hooked to machines? Because they had to be programmed, reprogrammed. So they were pumping new information into the minds of the people because when we go into the matrix, we can't go in there with the old programming or we'll become succumbed by it. So they had to give us a new knowledge so when we go in the matrix, we can learn how to deal with the agents. Because, see, man, when you got to go back and watch the movie, you got to go back and watch it. Man, you got to go back. I'm telling you, you got to go back. And then the oracles. The oracles are what you call your conscious brothers and sisters that's doing this work right now. We're the oracles. We're the ones that you talk to, that you come to see. That now I'm trying to tell you what it is. You got to see it for what it really is. What it really is. They've been giving you signs of everything. It's always been right there in your face the whole time. So the whole time, the whole thing is about you understanding that everything starts and everything ends with you. You are the grantor and the cellular. Nothing moves without your consent. Nothing. Everything in this system is done by consent. Everything. It might not seem like it because the devil has a way of making things appear to be one way when they really are something totally different. Now, you know I ain't lying. You know I ain't lying. And he's the arch deceiver. What that means, he's the highest deceiver. Highest. You remember they was talking about, and I'm finna go after this. They was talking about Tartaria, right? This unique civilization, electric power, everything, mass civilization, wiped out the earth, right? Just wiped out. Nobody want to talk about it. It's like it never existed, right? So when you think about uh uh what's the name of that uh Timeri or whatever, not Timeri, but whatever the name of that I just said was, right? And all the power and everything that the people had, and they just wiped everything out and made us believe that none of this stuff ever existed. You know what I'm saying? That there was never a greater civilization than what we see right now. And they want us to think that this is greatness. This is not greatness, man. All the mayhem, all the poison in the foods, all the poison, all the taking all the seeds out of our vegetables, our fruits, taking all our seeds, giving us artificial, manufactured, man-made, processed food so that we, the natural beings, see, we got to understand that don't affect everybody the same way. A lot of these people that are not real people, they are spliced people, they are genetically modified people, so they can handle all that. It don't really affect them. But the natural people, those of us that are of the earth, those of us that are planet, that are plants, we are just like the plants on this surface. It affects us greatly. It really does because we're not artificial. We are original. And anything done by us has to be done originally in accordance to what we were designed to do. We were given certain laws that were laid down by our ancestors for us to follow, and it was all distorted and messed with to throw us off. So now you got some of us that believe in some of it, and some of us don't believe. Some of us we confused. We don't know whether it's true or whether it's not true. But it's too much proof proving that a lot of the scriptures and stuff gotta be true. But it was done purposely to throw us off track so we wouldn't know what was really going on. So if we are, in fact, the people of God and stuff like I've been saying, and we are under strict authority or a covenant with God, and we're being tricked to believe we something else and we somewhere else, and the land is something different, and but it's still the same place where everybody was bent before us and what the book been telling us, and we're not mindful of that, that's our fault, man. We can't blame nobody else for our shortcomings. We must know the truth, we must embrace the truth, and then we must stand in the truth that we know. And the reason why people don't see us as a threat because they don't never see us ever rising up again under that title. They don't ever think that we will ever accept being who we truly are. And it is what it is, man. You know, either it is what it is, and I know that that's us because the information pouring out through us. He said that the truth will come through the mouths of babes. That the people who was considered as no people walked all on. That we was gonna be the truth speakers in the end, and that we was gonna be a exceedingly mighty nation. Man, and you can see it right now manifesting itself. It's a lot of information coming out. It's a lot of people speaking out this truth about a lot of stuff that's going on. A lot of things are coming to the forefront. See, you can't be held accountable for something until it's fully been disclosed to you. So one of the main things that God told the devil is that the devil got to give you full disclosure. You can't be tricked to be sinned if you never even knew fully, you weren't fully aware that you were sinning, or you were deceived from birth to believe that this was right but it was always wrong. So you never had a fair chance to know the truth. So you couldn't be punished for a deceptive act in practice that was initially done against you right off the rip. So you wouldn't, so that you would transgress off the rip. We want you. That's what Satan would want you to do anyway. If you were the chosen ones, the main thing for us to do is to make sure that they transgress his laws, make sure that they're taught and reared in the wrong way so they would never know the truth, so that they will always do things, make sure they got 1,000 baby mamas so that they can break all the covenants that they made with their God. See, and now they black. We got to make sure that they never identify with who they truly are. We got to make them think that they somewhere else. We don't never want them to see these lands as holy lands. We got to tell them the holy land is over there and over here is where the niggas is at. See, like, man, let me stop. Let me stop because it get deep, man. I just pray that we all one day come to a realization that everybody find their truth, man. Because everybody has a truth. And I hope that you find your truth. I hope that you find what you're looking for. And I'm gonna tell you, when you start searching, don't search outside yourself. Start your journey from within. When you start, always start from within. Ask whatever's inside of you to guide you. Ask it to give you power. It's very powerful. Look at your body. You can't tell me that it is not powerful. Look at what you are. Look at what you are. Look at yourself. Look at your body right now. Whatever made it is inside of there right now. Why would you go outside of it? What's inside when it's showing you what it is? It's proving its magnificence to you right now. You are existing magnificent. They can't even explain how does this even happen? How you go from a bag of water to coming out where you breathing oxygen? Like, what are you? For real. What is it that they hiding from you about who you truly are? And why is it that you're not able to even focus in on your greatness? Why is it that you can see greatness outside of yourself, but you can't see greatness within your own being? Is that by design? That somebody wants you to think that you're not great, that you're not magnificent, that you're not extraordinary, that your existence, your being, just you being able to be here is not extraordinary? What? Stop it. Because you are extraordinary. And you need to realize that everything you was taught was to make you other than who you truly are. It's to get you to believe concepts and ideas that would transform you other to something other than who you are. To make you less than what God made you. That's what it is. It's all by design. It's all trickery. Got us all singing happy birthday. Telling ourselves we getting older. All done by design. Got us claiming citizenship. When did the Bible say God created a citizenship? Show me any scripture. Any divine scripture where he created a citizenship outside the bloodline of the divine 12 tribes. Divine 12 tribes. Not like other nations of people. Direct descendants of the bloodline, meaning your spirit, your bloodline is holy. You can do extraordinary things. You're being tricked to be other than yourself. You're putting things in you that prevent you from ascending. You're wearing rubber shoes. You're riding in cars all day. You're not in the sun like you're supposed to be. A lot of y'all complain about the sun, and you are the people of the sun. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, man, it's not. Are you serious? Are you serious when it's the most life-giving force in this universe? You should be happy that you can go in the sun. You should be glad that the sun accepts your presence. Because everybody can't do that. Stop being so damn selfish and understand you are blessed. And people hate you for it because you don't even acknowledge your blessings. You running out talking about, oh, it's too hot. And people wish they can get in the sun like you out there trying to pan, and burning up and everything. And you up here talking about, I don't want to go out there. Yeah, look at you. You're a smack in the face to our Father. You see, you're wrong, man. Wake the hell up and embrace yourself. You are the people of this earth. and understanding that you got to live in the natural harmony with nature in order for you to vibrate spiritually to a high. The body can only vibrate at a higher rate when the body is used in accordance to its natural purpose. If you're not using, if you're doing everything that the body was not actually created for, how are you going to vibrate higher? How are you going to see you do things outside the norm? Some of y'all don't even dream no more. You can't even have a dream you remember. Some of y'all subconscious mind don't even talk to y'all no more. Y'all dead. Mentally, spiritually dead. You go over there and punch that girl in her face and you don't even feel nothing afterwards. You walk away like a soldier. I'm a soldier. Nothing in your mind never says, man, I was wrong, man. Damn, I need to go apologize. I should never did her like that. If you don't have that in you, you're dead. That's called a self-accusing spirit. We have something in us that accuses us when we go contrary to truth. It's already in you. You don't have to teach a child how to walk. Education is internal. I ain't never took a baby and made his legs move and say you got to move the leg like this and move the leg like that and keep doing it with him every day until he figured it out. No, I didn't. That baby did that thing on his own. That baby looked and was moving and twisting. Before you know it, it was grabbing stuff and crawling and started moving his arm, is grabbing my face and pulling on my glasses. I ain't telling how to do all that. That came from within that child. That child willed himself to learn how to move his arm. He willed himself to say that that. He willed himself to drink that bottle. Do you understand that education ain't something you read in a book? It's something internally inside of you and you bring it out. I'm not learning how to be a creditor. The creditor is inside of me. I'm just expressing what's inside. I'm learning how to live as the man that I am. See, you got to understand it's bigger than what they telling you. The commercial aspects of what we doing is a small fragment of what we really are. Like for real. Like that's small, man. That's small. The real blessing is in you knowing your real identity. Do you understand what I'm saying? The first person is spirit. They never taught us that. They never told me that my first person was spirit. They told me that I was flesh. They made me think I was flesh and blood, a person, a natural human being. They never told me that I was a spirit first. So I'm walking around thinking I'm flesh, not knowing my first person is spirit. I'm telling myself I'm going to die in 120 years, not knowing my first person is spirit. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand how powerful that is? If the real you is actually a spirit, but you're manifesting yourself as a fleshly womb or a fleshly person, and even though you look like you flesh, you walk around like flesh, the real essence of who you are is spirit, and you not acknowledging that self, and you running around thinking that the flesh is the real you, and you saying, I'm gonna die in 20 years. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Do you understand what you're doing? Do you understand what you're doing to yourself? You still haven't figured out what I'm trying to tell you? Because you think that the flesh is the real you, and everything in the book tell you. Even Jesus said it himself. He said, "Me and my Father are one in spirit." He specifically said in spirit. But a lot of y'all don't get it. They say Jesus walked on water. Where are you at right now? When you born, you get rested into the water. The water is commercial law. When you are born, they register you into the water. The water is civil law, civil matters. Anything dealing with civil is water, the law of the water, admiralty. So at birth, we all get naturalized as a person in admiralty in their jurisdiction. Facts. These are facts. So when Jesus said he walked on water, y'all, a lot of y'all got to understand that Jesus was born of a woman. Okay, we ain't gonna get into whether or not who his father or if he had a father, just with the fact that he came through the birth canal, like we all came through, right? So that means what? Jesus had to be taught how to talk, walk, and everything. So when a lot of y'all speak of him as like he was just already born knowing how to do stuff. No, he was born as a child. So that means somebody had to nurture him. They had to feed him. He had to learn how to crawl, walk. He had to go through all those different stages of life, and a lot of y'all neglect that. Y'all don't like to see that part that he had to be reared up. Y'all just want to see him when he became the Christ. See, you got to understand, and I don't like to even get into all that, but I'm just trying to say that to say that, when that man say he walked on water, that's symbolic to him. He learned law. Jesus was a steward of law. He was king at law. He knew law better than anybody, man. So he was able to confound scholars. He was able to do all these different things because of the knowledge he possessed. And not only was that, they said that Jesus was teaching people that he was God. He was running around teaching people that they was gods and stuff, so they sought out to kill him. Ain't that the same thing I'm telling you right now, that you a God? Ain't that the same thing that I'm trying to tell you, that you're not acknowledging your true identity, your true presence? You see what I'm saying? That you think that you flesh and you keep telling yourself you're gonna die, and you're not understanding that the real you is spirit. So when you say you're gonna die, you talking to your real self. And I'm just trying to talk, I'm just trying to get you to see it, because if you don't really pay attention to what I'm saying, you won't never see it, because you can only see the physical. You can't see your celestial self. Okay, man. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get up off of here. I thank y'all for tuning in. I hope I ain't offend nobody by my own interpretation and my own understanding. I'm just sharing with you what I see. It don't necessarily mean that it's right, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's my take and my understanding. And the reason why I'm sharing it with you is to give you a different take on what somebody else sees, and that might help you get a different understanding, or that might enlighten you to where your understanding, develops in a higher, on a different level. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it takes for somebody to say something for it to click. And then now all of a sudden things you didn't understand make sense to you. So a lot of times when I share my thought, it's not to, if you're a Christian, I'm not trying to offend you or talk about Jesus to say. I'm using Jesus only as an example for water, meaning that he had to grow into knowledge in order to walk on water. Meaning a lot of y'all believe that he physically walked on water, and to each his own. I don't knock you if you believe that. That's on you. I'm not changing your belief, and I'm not going to talk down on your belief. But the way I interpret that, that's a metaphor. Water represents commercial law, and Jesus was a righteous man going against the wicked ass government. So when he walked on water, he walked on these commercial aspects of things that they were doing to the people. And that's why he was flipping over tables. And this is my interpretation. Now, you take it for whatever you believe it is. But I'm telling you, everything in that book is talking about commerce. It's talking about what's going on right now. And every wicked ruler, Pharaoh, always ruled over the interest over the people. It's always been like that from time throughout time. You can go read the book, and when you start reading it, you're gonna see exactly what I'm saying. You're gonna be like, man, this is all about interest and banking. Man, this is like for real. You're gonna start seeing it. You're gonna be in there looking like, why would the book say this? Why would it have bankers or behold, beware of false attorneys? Why is all that in the Bible? Like, it don't even make sense, bro. Like, it's a book of banking, because these bankers, that's what they've been doing. They've been using the people as a resource throughout time, like for real. So it's just now coming to a time, as as things go on, more things become revealed. It was a time back then that the people didn't know what we know today. Only a certain class of people had knowledge of certain things. And then as time go on, more information come out, more technology come out, more resources come out, because the man evolves. And as man evolves, more information, more technology. So now we can go and we can find information that we could, because in the book it said that everything shall be known, and we should have a it says, seeking you shall find, knocking the door shall be open, and something else. So either the book is lying or it's telling the truth. We living in an age right now where you can ask and receive, you can knock and it'll be open. Man, I'm telling you, I ain't lying to you. Anything you want to find out, you can find it. Anything you try to do, you can possibly do it. We living in that time right now. So, we living in that time. So it's time for you to embrace the time. You living in a time in the fulfillment of scripture. You're living in a time where You have to pick a side. Which side are you on? Choose a side. Choose a side. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you want to be on this side. On this side, change your lifestyle. I know it's hard, but get off the meat. Or if you're gonna eat meat, eat clean meat. Go to a farmer's market or get your own farm or something. But you got to get off that market meat. You got to get off that stuff that's being sold on the stock market. you know, you going into a store and you purchasing their stocks. Did you know when you go into stores like Kmart, Walmart, that that you're purchasing stocks? That's considered as the stock exchange. That they're selling stocks of their company and they're exchanging that stock with consumers on a day-to-day basis. When you go to a dealership, the dealer is considered as a stock exchange. They are exchanging the stock of their company to consumers to purchase goods off of their car lot. All these different, the consumer is the only agent I mean, he's the only person, or we are the only ones who can go on a stock exchange and we don't need a broker. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that. How many people told you that when you go out every day and you purchase goods that you're purchasing stock exchange? That you're actually on the stock exchange. If you don't believe me, look up what an exchange is. Look up the legal definition of exchange. And when you see what it is, you're gonna be like, God damn. So the whole time we thinking we going to the bank or we going to the dealer, and the whole time we on the stock exchange. You got a first market and then you got a secondary market. Boy, we've been fooled. That's all I can say. You got a first market, you got a secondary market. You need to look into all of that. All right. With that said, I leave y'all as always doing love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, equality for us all. Thank you for your time. I'll be coming back. I got some stuff coming up for the members. I'll be coming on my YouTube membership. I got some great information that I'm gonna share today. I'm gonna be coming on there and I'm gonna be showing you guys. I ain't gonna even tell. I'm just gonna keep it a surprise, but I got some great information for the members. I'm gonna come on there today. I'm gonna drop a video for y'all pertaining to some processes and some things that I've learned. And I'm gonna share that information with my members so that they can actually take that same information, that same process I use, and start asserting that same process against anybody else. And guess what? I got one of the main ones y'all been wanting to get. T-Mobile. T-Mobile is one of the hardest service providers to perform. Everybody know that. They play so many games. But brother Isaiah, I cracked the code. Cracked the code, yo. So I got some information, man. And like I said, I'm gonna be airing it out. So y'all stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. Much love. Stay blessed. By all means, protect your mental, protect your children. Study, study, study to show yourself approved. Remember, uh, get the right knowledge, you know. Always study and get the right knowledge because the right knowledge will always lead you in the right direction. Salute to all the real ones. I'll catch y'all later.